Hey everyone! Today I'm going to walk you through how I created this landscape just using one brush and one layer only. For this challenge, I am using a soft layer paintbrush by Designical, and this is my reference photo I took at a river in a rainforest. My first step is always to block in the main colors using a large size on my brush. During the beginning, I'm not too worried about the details, just making sure I get the general major points such as lighting and how it shines on the rocks to create all sorts of different colors. This one layer exercise is great if you're a painter, especially in a more traditional way, because it really reflects the acrylic and oil process. You can't exactly erase things. Mostly your corrections are done with a color over your little error or mark, so this was a great exercise for that. I tried to digest the reference photo a little bit by focusing on the rocks first and not really adding too much water detail in yet. You can see in the background where I started to add a little bit of green that is kind of like the river flowing up against the rocks with a little bit of reflections, but I didn't spend a lot of time on that because things in the background usually are not in focus or do not have as much detail depending on the aperture of your camera, for example. I was a little hesitant to jump right on the water in the middle of the painting, so I tested out a little bit on the sides to see how I liked it and started adding little sparkles with a light brush around it to get the sparkle to look like it's glowing or the water to look like it's reflecting some sunlight in the background. One of my favorite discoveries during this process was adding the vibrant blues that make rocks look glossy or water look like it's clear or translucent. You can see on this rock right up front, I added this blue kind of patch that shows the water is a little bit see-through but still reflecting. I think the hardest part for me was looking like the water was flowing over this front rock here because it's a little bit hard to depict that there's a rock underneath water which is clear, so I used the smudge tool, still using the same brush, to help me kind of give it that motiony look. As we're nearing the end of this, I decided to add some moss on the sides that was in the original photo, and I wasn't too happy with my first try on it, so I ended up just making my brush really large and doing very light patches of green just on the rocks underneath and the rocks on top to give it a little bit more color. My last final main step was to sharpen the edges on the areas that I wanted to stand out the most. For example, this front rock here, I wanted to make sure the edges on the top were really crisp, while the things closer to me and a little bit further away from me were slightly blurrier to bring the viewer's eye towards that area. I then decided to add a few little cracks in the rocks with a darker gray, and now our landscape is finally finished. This landscape took me about an hour, so don't be discouraged if you do try this challenge and it takes you some time. Please consider subscribing if you felt like this was helpful for you, and I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching.